Hey, Ron, welcome to another episode of Blockcast with Will and Simon. My co-host Will, hey today, mate.
Hey, going great, Simon. Just been looking at the market and looks like things are taking a turn for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing green. We haven't seen big green candles for a long time. Like there's a weekly candle of Bitcoin going from the 16, 17,000s up to 21,000.
I'm starting to feel a little bit hopeful that we're getting there.
Yeah, and it's certainly a case of it's not up only. We're not going to just keep going up at this crazy rate. We should hopefully have some consolidation at this level. And then we'll have corrections. We always have corrections along the way. Crypto is very famous for its, for high volatility.
And like we talked about a couple of episodes ago, it's really important to start dollar cost averaging and start setting out profit targets and so on. So I guess which brings us onto the subject that we're on today, which is Anoma, a new interesting project.
Yeah, so this is a very technical network that's going on. So I think you might need to give us a bit of introduction about what this network's trying to do.
In a nutshell, what Anoma has done is they've taken the whole concept of money, medium of exchange, and they've sort of done away with it and replaced it with the idea of just bartering. In a nutshell, they could basically change the way we trade physical goods and also digital goods.
Okay, Will, so you talk about them being a bartering system. So my understanding of what Anoma is trying to do is I kind of use the analogy of comparing it to like the Visa and MasterCard network. If I go overseas with my Visa card, I can transact with the Visa card and it's Australian dollars and it will convert into whatever country I'm in. So if I'm in China, it will change over to the Namibia. If I'm in US, change to US dollars. The Visa card does all that for us. We can't do that with crypto. If I want to pay you with Ethereum, but you actually don't want to receive Ethereum, you want to receive Bitcoin, there's no actual way to do that currently on blockchain. Is that what Anoma is trying to do?
Exactly. So that's a really good way of describing it. And how it solves that problem is instead of jumping straight into the whole idea of transactions, which is what blockchains currently do, it starts with the whole idea of just broadcasting your intention. So you broadcast your intention that you have Ethereum and you want some Bitcoin. And I might broadcast my intention that I have Link and I want some Solana, for example. Now, all we've done is we've broadcasted our intentions. This is what I have, and this is what I want. Now, what Anoma does is it looks at all of these different people broadcasting their intentions, and it just matches them all together. And so it might take your Bitcoin, it might move it over to somebody else's, it might grab an NFT from somebody, and it'll do all of these trades automatically without needing a medium of exchange. It's literally just bartering Bitcoin for NFTs, for this other thing, for airline tickets, and eventually everybody just gets exactly what they need. And so the whole idea is that rather than just starting from the transaction level, where you know what you want, I know what I want, and just bringing exactly two parties together, it says, you know what, everybody just broadcast what everybody wants and what everybody has. And in the background, it just figures everything out and it does all the trades automatically. And you end up with exactly what you wanted. I end up with exactly what I wanted, and every other party is satisfied.
Yeah, so that sounds, really challenging. It sounds, I guess, like a really advanced bridge to a degree. So bridges are dangerous. Bridges have been known to be hacked very recently in 2022 quite a lot. So are we taking on a huge amount of risk by using a Anoma network to do this?
There's always an amount of risk when it comes to using bridges. And how Anoma tries to solve this is, one, they use something called the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, IBC. And so that helps blockchains that use this protocol to work together and communicate together. So that makes it a little bit easier. And on top of that, Anoma is a blockchain in itself. So well, you might have a risk, say, when you're trading your Ethereum, say when you're trading an asset on Ethereum with an asset on somewhere else, there's always definitely some risk with bridges. You can also trade directly on Anoma. So we can assume that there would be tokens on Anoma there. There might be wrapped tokens. And the other way that it handles security is that the way Anoma works is you don't need pools, So with the way regular bridges work, they need pools on one side and pools on another. So for example, liquidity pools. If you want to do a trade between, let's say, Ethereum and Link, you'll need an Ethereum and Link liquidity pool of all the tokens just sitting there. But the good thing with Anoma is you don't even need these pools anymore. So there's never really any central point to hack. So there might be a risk in hacking a single transaction. So if you're sending a lot of tokens, maybe millions of dollars worth, maybe, there's always a risk. There's always a security risk. But if you're sending small amounts of tokens between two parties, the risk is really reduced.
So how does that work then? So I've got Ethereum, you want Bitcoin, I come see you to buy your secondhand car, I want to pay in Ethereum, you want to receive Bitcoin. If there's no liquidity pools, where does the Bitcoin come from that you're going to receive?
In a regular blockchain, there's all of these liquidity pools of money just waiting to be traded. With Anoma, all it is intents. That's what everybody just broadcasts, is that I have this much and I want to trade this much, and that's all. And that money is secured in your account until your intent matches with another party's intent, and then that's when the transaction happens seamlessly and automatically.
So are you saying that you don't actually receive the Bitcoin in your wallet straight away? You would receive an IOU in your Anoma account until Bitcoin does get put into the system?
Well, you don't even need to send any Ethereum or Bitcoin. All you need to do is broadcast your intent, in that if I find a partner who's willing to give me something in exchange for what I have, then we're going to do the trade. So everything sits in your wallet until your intent is satisfied. And the intents can be really interesting in that you can say, well, within the next, say, 20 minutes or 2 days, I want to have traded my Bitcoin for Ethereum. And so the whole intent doesn't even have to be satisfied immediately. It could take as long as you want. So the intent can be as detailed as you want. And your Bitcoin will just sit in your wallet and get slowly exchanged for Ethereum as more partners are found to match your intent.
So that doesn't sound like it would really work for a day-to-day transactional system then. It's not really doing what Visa and MasterCard do.
So the one weakness of broadcasting intents is that I think initially when the system is very new, and let's say there's only 10 people there, it's of course very difficult to match intents, which is why liquidity pools work really well, in that you don't have to wait. Now, once the network is really big and there's a lot of intents and different things being traded, it becomes really easy to find matches. But then something we need to remember is that Anoma is not an exchange, it's just a protocol, which means that apps can build anything they want on top of it. So I actually foresee initially Anoma being bootstrapped with liquidity pools to start off. There's nothing to stop it from doing that. And as more users get in, the liquidity pools become less important, and then intents can just get matched automatically.
So in order for Anoma to reach a critical mass and actually really be working well, though, as a transaction system, though, kind of needs to be the lead network that everyone has on their phone in order to pay for items in cryptocurrency. Is that what it needs? It needs to be, the preferred network on your phone?
I think if Anoma did really well and it succeeded very well, like you said, it's definitely something you could use on your phone and just use to trade. Initially, it'll probably start as a blockchain, like every other blockchain starts off, and there will probably be just different apps that decide to move on to Anoma. There's other advantages of moving onto Anoma, primary one being privacy. So we mentioned bridges and connecting Ethereum to Anoma and Anoma to Bitcoin, for example. So another really cool thing about Anoma is that it's private as well, or it can be optional private if you want. So services might also get built on top just for the simple purposes of mixing. And how that works is, again, you want to trade your Ethereum for Bitcoin, send it through the Anoma bridge, and whatever happens in there is completely private. No one will know exactly what you traded for, and no one will know exactly when you withdrew Bitcoin. They won't even know that you withdrew Bitcoin. So there's all of these great advantages of building on top of Anoma. And how I see it happening is that initially it'll start for niche services, for example, mixing. And I can also see other exchanges building on top of it, but then also bootstrapping it with liquidity pools. But then as the network matures and it gets bigger, I can see it just being purely a network of pure intents.
Yeah, I can see the real future being the whole thesis that we don't have one coin that rules them all kind of thing. We're going to be living in a world with multiple blockchains and multiple different currencies that are good in the different communities, then we need this more seamless way to transact between each other. So I think it's a really interesting point of difference that they are allowing that mechanism to take place. It's kind of major blockchain agnostic. It's whatever currency you want to use, and you can broadcast this intent, and Anoma will take care of the rest for you. So it plays well into the thesis that we need multiple blockchains, we need multiple currencies, and communities will have their own money that they want to use. So it's got a really strong case, to fill that gap in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. And not only that, so the whole idea of intents is that there's so many things that you can do, and the whole thing is that it's just a protocol, and it's up to services to get creative when they build on top of it. So intents could be as simple as trading currencies, Bitcoin for Ethereum, for example. But then they could also get really interesting in that we've talked about time. So trade Bitcoin for Ethereum at this specific time. More interestingly, it could be I want to buy a ticket for a concert, but at the same time, I also want to buy an airline ticket to get me there and book a hotel. So that is an intent in that I only want to trade if all of these three things can be fulfilled. And it can actually hold these intents, and just with what is called a gossip protocol, it broadcasts these intentions, and as soon as it finds the perfect match for you, boom, it's executed, and you have your airline ticket, your concert ticket, and you also have your hotel room booked at the same time. So there's all sorts of crazy applications that you can do by taking the whole idea of transactions and switching that to intents.
Yeah, that sounds like a really cool use case, and something that obviously doesn't get done on any other blockchain. That's very unique concept. So that makes it really stand out. I think the downside things that I've seen from Anoma network is they don't have a roadmap, and they've been around since 2021, even in 2020. So do you see that as a hindrance, or on the technical side, are they actually doing progress?
That's a very good point, Simon. So when we're looking at a project and whether we want to invest in it, we definitely want to look at all of these things. How strong is their marketing? How big is their community? And when you go to the GitHub, you can see all the activity that's happened. Their code is updated daily. I think it was updated up to 3 hours ago. So you can definitely tell that they're out there, they're working. It's not an easy problem to solve. But then hopefully they'll have a testnet soon that we can start to play around with. And that way we can know whether this is actually an amazing idea that could change the world, or whether it's just an idea that another idea that needs to be tested.
Yeah, so it's good to hear that they are building, and I guess marketing is coming second to them, which is also a good sign. But I think they should have some element of marketing and some idea of a roadmap out to the public, because as an investor, I want to see that they are actually hitting milestones, and so far they haven't advertised any milestones yet. But as you say, maybe they're in a bear market and they're building and they're waiting for the right time to start pushing their ideas out there. They're keeping it in-house at the moment. So it's something to watch. As far as an investment prospect goes with this, is the Anoma network going to have its own coin to pay for the transaction fees on the network?
So looking at their white paper, they haven't mentioned any token yet. But then being a blockchain, it's almost a given that they would need a token. You do need tokens to obviously secure the network and so forth. So I believe that they will have a token. I just think in a sense that it's a good sign that we can see that they're updating the code, they're working on it, but then they haven't started a crazy marketing push. They haven't tried to push a token yet. I would say it's a very interesting project to definitely keep watching, in that if they do manage to launch their testnet, it's definitely worth going out there, playing around with it. There's probably opportunities for airdrops as well. And if they do manage to launch their testnet and production, I think it could be a very good opportunity for investment, especially if it becomes the protocol that handles exchanges. So exchanges are a big thing. Binance and BNB obviously did really well, and there's decentralized exchanges with tokens that do really, really well as well. So Anoma right now is just a project in the works, but then it could end up being one of the biggest projects that actually handles exchanges. It could actually be the protocol for exchanging things.
Yeah, wow. So that's obviously a huge use case as well. So right now, no investment opportunity at the moment. Right now, it is VC backed from my looking at the project. So there is plenty of funding in the works for them to keep the project going and moving, and probably investment for the individual could come later when they do actually release the network. So something to watch out for. Any final thoughts on it, Will?
Well, yeah, I just want to say that I'm very excited about Anoma. I'm very excited about the idea of trading, bartering. Very excited about the whole idea of using intents instead of transactions. So it's really interesting. I think it's also really key to watch for these projects that haven't launched yet, because they might end up being very good investment opportunities. If they end up launching during the this coming bull, definitely something to get and probably hold for a short time, because we really don't want to get anything and hold it past the bull market, because what's going to happen is obviously the market's going to crash. But it's definitely something I would want to pick up if it's launched during this bull market, and it's definitely something I would definitely want to pick up during the bear market as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously not financial advice, but I think that's really good strategy in general, is that you don't consider holding any coin or token long-term unless it has survived at least one bull bear market cycle, because then it's actually proved it's going through. So this is a new project, really amazing opportunity, but will it survive the test of time through the craziness of ups and downs in crypto? We'll wait and see. It's a very interesting project, mate. It's really cool ideas. And my kind of thoughts on it are, is that if this can solve the problem of people wanting different coins to hold as their store of value, if Anoma can then be the way that these people can still transact with each other, that is a huge bullish case. And I think it's also adding privacy to that, so people can trade these things without anybody actually knowing what's going on there, which is great for the individuals. Really positive, bullish idea, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. Hopefully they can deliver, because I'm wanting to play around on it and it's not there yet.
Indeed. I guess this one is a wait and see, and yeah, let's see how they do, Simon.
All righty, Bill. Thanks for your time, mate. Catch you next time.
All right, catch you next time.